On March 17th, 2018, the normally bustling city of Juarez in Mexico mysteriously shut down. The streets were empty, shops closed early. Where were all the people? Well, they were here, a crowd the size of a small town, all taking the day off to watch the latest episode of Dragon Ball. Craziest part? This was only one of the 38 coordinated watch parties happening across South America that evening. See, to the rest of the world, Dragon Ball may just be an anime, but to Latin America, it's something way more. Like, these guys live and breathe Dragon Ball. One of the greatest Brazilian football players has a Goku tattoo. Politicians tweet about it. Hell, there was even a strip club in Mexico handing out free lap dances after Goku beat Jiren in Dragon Ball Super. Also, yeah. And while that's super cool, it's also kind of strange, right? Like, how did an anime from Japan travel halfway across the world and ingrain itself so deeply into this specific culture? To the point where the voice actors of the show are treated like A-list celebrities. Or that there are Dragon Ball parades every time Goku wins a big battle. It's insane! So let's talk about how a Japanese cartoon basically turned into a religion, and what happens when devotion goes too far. Let's get it. South America first got Dragon Ball around 1996. The show was broadcast on national TV, which meant every home in the country with a working picture box had access to it. Free access, by the way. It was also, strangely enough, one of the only shows airing at the time specifically targeted at kids. Put these two crazy coincidences together, and you start to see how Dragon Ball first got so popular. But take a closer look, and questions start to appear. Like, isn't it weird how South America let a random anime monopolize children's TV? Also, why did the government air hours of the stuff every day on some of the biggest TV networks in the country? Well, it's cause they had no choice. See, generally speaking, Latin America was kinda broke in the 90s. You know, cause they were just getting out of decades of war and military dictatorships and all that. And so, most countries couldn't afford very much in terms of licensing TV shows for their people, let alone their people's people. Like, American cartoons were too expensive, they sure as heck didn't have enough money to make their own, so they had to look elsewhere for cheap, family-friendly shows to fill their newly liberated airwaves with. And wouldn't you know it, Japan was selling. See, Japan itself was also in kind of a pickle. Since World War II, they've been desperately trying to rehabilitate their image. You know, because of all the naughty things they did back in the day. This time, their plan was to push Japanese media, aka anime, to every corner of the globe so people will like them more. Which meant they were willing to license their shows for dirt cheap. And to South America, who were really broke at the time, it was an offer they simply couldn't refuse. So that's how Dragon Ball first got into South America. Crossed the border, if you will. But the real challenge was going to be capturing the hearts of the millions of people who lived there. And they did it by going hard as fuck. See, they didn't treat the show like it was just some foreign garbage to fill the air with. No. They took it and made it their own. Dubbing studios in Mexico produced the highest quality dubs we've maybe ever seen. The dialogue was tailored to fit the local language, jokes were rewritten to make sense. They even re-recorded the entire opening theme in Spanish. Combine this with out-of-this-world voice acting, and we're starting to cook here. It also helped that Dragon Ball itself was super dramatic. You know, with loud screaming and cliffhangers, like the whole 9 yards. This helped it fit right in with the meta style of TV at the time, telenovelas, aka Spanish soap operas. You can see why, right? So production quality and drama got Dragon Ball some early attention, but what really put the show on the map were its characters. Our main guys were these strong, manly men, right? Who get beaten down on the regular but always get back up. And to the South Americans, that's dope! Cause after getting battered by decades of poverty and dictatorships, the people could kinda relate to them. Especially Goku. They love Goku. Goku as a character was like the perfect embodiment of Latin American values. A macho man who loves his family and sacrifices himself for the greater good. Instant hit. But the most important characters of all were the waifus. Okay, I didn't notice, but Saiyans are canonically attracted to strong, passionate, hot-tempered women, right? Like, that's why Goku marries Chi-Chi and Vegeta marries Bulma. And someone on Reddit pointed out that this basically describes every Latin American woman ever, and I thought that was just hilarious. Anyway, all of this combined caused a chain reaction. Dragon Ball fit in so well with South American culture that people identified with it and started passing it down through the generations. And here's where it gets kind of nuts. When something is so deeply rooted in a society that it gets culturally transmitted over decades, it kind of starts to look like a religion. Hear me out. A very popular story gets passed down through generations. It's about a really nice guy who sacrifices himself to save the world and then comes back to life. People look up to him so much they use him as their moral compass. There's a holiday in his honor, fans pray to him, and buy figures of him to decorate their homes. Do you see what I mean? The similarities are crazy. Only difference is, Jesus died and came back to life just once. Goku did it 3 times. I know it's not a competition, but the numbers speak for themselves. Anyway, the reason I've been going on about how Dragon Ball is basically a religion at this point was to build up to this next segment. So now that we understand how much this show means to the people of South America, what do you think happens when someone tries to take it all away? Nothing good. On the 16th of March 2018, just one day before the nationwide viewing events, Toei Animation, the company who owns the rights to Dragon Ball, sent a cease and desist letter to the government of Mexico, ordering that they halt any and all public screenings of the show. Chaos ensued. Toei Animation, screw your mom and go to hell. This was gonna be something big, and now you ruined it. We're just fans trying to get together and watch our favorite series. What's your problem? Toei Animation is worth 3 kilos of Japanese cock. That's 6.6 pounds for you American folks out there. Get cock. No, dick you. A lot of these are about penises for some reason. Anyway, let's be clear. Toei was well within their rights to order these takedowns. I mean, these events were pretty much large-scale copyright violations of their biggest IP after all. And being Japanese, you bet your booty they were taking this very seriously. But just when it looked like all hope was lost, a hero appears. Remember this guy? Turns out this is Armando Cavada, the mayor of Juarez. And he ain't having any of it. See, he was actually the guy who organized these watch parties in the first place. And being a Dragon Ball fan himself, he wasn't gonna let it all end like this. There was too much at stake. So in the final few hours leading up to the event, Mayor Cavada, the absolute Giga Chad, brokered a peace deal with Toei Animation and secured the rights to broadcast the final episodes of Dragon Ball Super to the entire city. And yeah, that's how a country pretty much shut down for a day to watch Dragon Ball. The details of the last section were kind of fuzzy, so if you're from Latin America and remember this happening, let me know if I got it right. Subscribe!